Hey there. Thanks for hanging out with K-Dubs and listening to the podcast. Much appreciated. Check us out on YouTube. Shoot us an email. Let us know how we're doing. Hanging out with kdubs@gmail.com. And as always, enjoy the next episode. Well, Danny, it's really good to see you.
It's really good to see you, man. It's been a long time.
You look good.
You look really good.
Well, thank you. I try to always look good, you know.
I tried to clean up the beard a little bit, but I'm missing the long beard, so I'm a little jealous.
Well, the fun thing is come the nice warm weather, when that shows up, you're going to appreciate the short beard.
Touche. I'll catch you soon enough.
Yeah, it really don't take long, but I think for guys like us, where we've been growing them since we were 17, and it just goes quick.
This is true.
So a little background on us, right?
Yep.
We've known each other a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, we grew up at the fair pretty well together, being
County
competitors.
Fair. I was just gonna say we were side by side. Me, you, your brothers. We were always neck to neck with the showmanship, going back and forth. Just always loved your family. I mean, you guys
are great.
You guys took us in, and pretty much if my mom or dad wasn't there, your mom and dad let us stay in the camper. I mean, we pretty much from 8 until 19, you guys were my second family.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that we didn't live that close.
No,
right?
we did.
We lived 40
Harvard,
minutes
Huntley.
Yeah, 40 minutes away. But fair family was family.
I'll tell you what, and we always stayed in contact. And that's one thing, like, I can talk to you guys more than, even if I don't see you for 2-3 years, which I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, it's been a while.
Boom. It's just, Kyle, how you been?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no problems with it.
We just picked up where we left off.
And that's what I love
and
about it.
Friendship is cool that way.
It is. Especially for the fact that I've known you guys, known everything. I always probably maybe had a little bit of a grudge to you guys, just because every year at the fair I thought I was going to beat you, but yet there you come and you still pull something out of your butt.
It's crazy.
Kudos to you on that.
It was always, the competitive part of it was always fun too.
It was a good competitive.
Yeah, because it was one of those where we could still shake each other's hands afterward.
Absolutely.
We could still, go have a beverage or whatever in the background at
One
that
or
point.
two. Or if we already had it at lunchtime, nobody was counting on that one.
But yeah, so I mean, we go back quite a long ways, and it's always good to reconnect. Not that we lost touch,
no,
but we don't see each other for cookouts and things like that. So to reconnect like this is just always fun.
And I appreciate you having me.
Oh, I thank you for coming, taking time out of your busy schedule.
Wouldn't miss it, buddy.
And come here to share your story some, and
I'm excited for it.
It's you got a cool story.
I'm looking forward to saying it. I'm not going to really hold back. Pretty much we're just going to lay it all out there, and appreciate you taking the time and hearing me out, man.
So the last thing that, not the last thing I remember, but back when we were more in touch than where we are now, you were working for International.
That is correct.
As a diesel mechanic.
Yep.
How long did that last?
Oh, God, I was at International forever. So pretty much while I was in International, from when I was in middle school up until after high school, everything. I mean, Dad retired from there.
Yeah, right.
I went in there, got my CDL. I was a full-time mobile tech. Loved everything about it. Was there. I thought I would be there forever. There you go again with everybody thinking, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be.
Tell God you're playing and watch him laugh.
Exactly. So obviously that wasn't the case. So I decided I stayed at International. I got an opportunity to better myself a little bit, and I left International and went to Smith Cartage. Got in the union. I was a union diesel mechanic, which I stayed there for a long time. Everything was going somewhat decent. Won't go into too much stuff on everything, but I will say one of the biggest things, I'll leave a lot of stuff out, but not as much out. I got a DUI. Most people are really upset to admit it, do everything on that sort. I actually look at this DUI as probably my blessing. That was my wake-up call.
No kidding.
100%. So people are like, why would you think of a DUI as a blessing in disguise? So I was working overnights, wasn't managing my money well. No reason why I shouldn't have. I was just really going down a dark path, a really dark path. And my mind wasn't there. My mind was out of the gutter. I just really wasn't focused, and I wasn't the normal Danny that people knew. And I was just going down a downhill slope.
Because you said you work nights when you were doing this? Oh,
yeah.
Man, that's tough.
Start at 10 at night and then get off at 8 in the morning, and you were off on Sundays and Mondays. And one Sunday I had to work, you'd had to take the on-call shift. So I get off at 6 o'clock in the morning, technically Sunday, and then you would be on call from 6 until 6 that night. So you pretty much well left with 1 day, which is no excuse to get a DUI. But it just, you lost track of a lot of things. Went through a nasty breakup, which is the one thing that I was saying that I didn't want to get too much into depth, overdone with it. Life goes on.
Yep.
We'll fast forward a little bit, kind of get going. It was a Sunday night, and I got the DUI. At that point in time, I pretty much thought, I already hit rock bottom, but I thought rock bottom had hit even worse at that point. So I lost my CDL. Where I was working at, obviously, I had to have a CDL to keep my license. Couldn't, so I lost my job. At that point in time, I kind of was like, well, I can't crawl back to mom and dad to go back to international. You got to have your CDL. Can't do it. So I was trying to kind of do a few odds and ends, find the stuff here and there, do whatever, and got hooked up with a couple different places that didn't really, pan out too much. And I'm pretty much, all at this time, owing money everywhere, digging my own graves, pretty much just being not a good person.
Well, like you said, literally rock bottom.
I thought it was over with. There was times that I just pretty much sat there and said, you know what, I'm done. And it didn't. And at that point in time, I reconnected with an old friend that I owe a lot to. And that's where I kind of will get into where we're at right now. She happens to be my wife now, Katie. I was on Facebook, and I reached out to her, and we just kind of started talking a little bit, and we went and had coffee. And at that point in time, she really just kind of taught me the meaning of wake up. I'm not going to get into detail on everything I'm going on,
Wakey.
So I was going in the mix of on and on between jobs, doing that. Got in the RV industry. Something that I never in my wildest dreams would have ever have thought.
So how did that work? Like, did you just drive by an RV place one day and go, I think I can do that?
It's General RV. So at this time, I had talked about my DUI, so I had no driver's license. I was hiding a lot of stuff, still going through the battle of stuff, trying to pay stuff off, trying to get my license back. Got the job with General RV. And in the meantime, I reconnected with Katie, who I, again, owe everything to, which is now my wife. At that time, she wasn't. Really just started getting my life kind of back on the track and doing stuff. And, General, I was a tech. So I had always had my experience in the past with working on diesels, which diesel semis is a lot different than an RV, but you got Class A's and Class C's and everything of that sort. So the diesel part I wasn't too nervous about. But
the engine component itself.
Yes.
Yeah. All the other bells and whistles that go with those things,
so
I'm sure you're going to tell me about.
That's where I really started getting intrigued. Like, wow, these things are cool. I've always camped, did everything, never really went RV camping. We've always tent camped, did everything like that. One piece of
which is not fun, by the way.
No, especially because that'll bring back our memories of our friendships with the Country Thunder days, waking up in the tents and just
or tents that we think that should be there and they're not.
Yeah. Or we're walking into somebody else's tent that's definitely not our tent. So, but we'll just keep it going on that way. Plead the fifth on that one. Not that it's ever happened.
I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. Not a clue.
So, in the meantime, we'll kind of fast forward to stuff. I am now married. We're getting my life kind of back up to par. I'm still not there yet, but I'm slowly but surely starting to realize to myself as, hey, I got to change. And I really started to change big time.
For the better, obviously.
100 times better. I had to make a lot of apologies to people. Still, to this day, there's ones that I should reach out to and say stuff to, but you know what, I will. I went back and just started really going through stuff and really just finding what matters most and what best fits me. So we had bought an RV prior to me going to work there at General. So we had a brand
you and
me, Katie, and my mother-in-law. We had a hybrid. We went camping in it. We just had it for a little bit. Absolutely loved it. It was brand new. I didn't know anything about it. And then that's when I started working at General. I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. How do I not know how to use this stuff? And really just started working on stuff and doing everything. And I really started getting a passion for RVs.
Okay, so when you started at General, did you start as a mechanic?
As a mechanic, yes.
So it was, hey, we need somebody to fix this stuff when it's not right. You're on board.
I was on board, so I would start working on it. So I'm a sociable guy. We
Yes.
started going out, and then me and the family, we started camping. We started doing everything. Really had a good time. Met a lot of people. We went to a lot of great places to camp at, and then that's when we fell in love with the Yogi Bear. And actually, to this day, right now, this is where we're seasonals at.
And Yogi Bear is
In Amboy, Illinois.
Amboy.
It's a campground. Probably one of the best campgrounds I've ever been to, and it has every check mark that all of us want. It's got the water slides, it's got the parks, it's got everything. The kids can go be kids, and I can be an adult.
And you can do the things that you want to do as an adult.
Exactly. So beer's always cold in the refrigerator. Everybody has fun. I love everybody going about there. It's just the time that you can go and relax. A lot of people used to give us crap about, well, how can you work on these and still stay in it? I loved every part of it. It's the short time that whatever's bothering you, you can go and just let loose and forget about what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously me kind of telling you a little bit of the background of stuff, I had a lot on my plate. I had a lot going on. I'm in the process of transitioning, to getting myself back together. Not perfect at this point in time, but baby steps.
Sometimes baby steps is what, that step one at a time.
And that's what I got to give a lot of credit to my wife, Katie. She really stood beside me through everything and was one of the biggest ones that I owe a lot of thank you to. Not to mention my mom, my dad, and a lot of others that are out there right now that I could spend hours on talking about people, but you know who you are. I appreciate it. So,
yeah, that's the one thing when you get into a situation like that, you're down on your luck or whatever you want to call it. Those people that stuck by you remember who they are,
100%.
and they'll always be in that back part of your brain because you're like, oh, I remember when such this or this happened or that and that happened and that guy was there, or that girl was there, or whatever.
100%. And there was always people. I mean, you being one of them, and along with your family, I knew that you guys were always ones that if I needed to, I could call and you guys would be right there. Mm-hmm. It just that's how I think of you guys. But at that time, I wasn't in that time frame to really focus on who I need to call, or I just need to find myself.
Yep.
So we're going, and I'm still working on them, doing whatever, and just general wasn't.
So when time frame are we talking? 2013, 2015.
2015, 2016. Right.
So you were working on it.
No, I'm wrong on my dates.
Just guessed a minute.
2017. I'm sorry. So we're going on that one. Oh God, my wife would freak out if she said that because it's right around when we got married on that one. So we'll laugh at that. Yeah, take it easy. So we're going in. This is right around 2017. Fast forward a little bit, 2018. I decided that obviously general really wasn't the thing for me. And pretty much parted ways with that. And I decided to take another leap into another RV marine place, which was Lake Marine and RV, which I won't even focus on that very long. I lasted there a couple months. It wasn't for me. I thought it was going to be something, and it really wasn't. And the funny how it led up to where I am is Katie needed a new car. And we went up and we found one at Kunes in Elkhorn. And we walked in there, and the guys that were talking, I had an RV. We just got done talking about RVs. Do you know RVs? Well, yeah, I have one. Worked on them. Really? We just opened up an RV place. We're hiring.
In Elkhorn.
In Elkhorn. Okay. Well, don't know how this is going to go over, but whatever. So I reached out to them, and next day immediately I get a phone call.
Well, yeah, you should. I mean, you've been working on them. You have experience with them. How many people in this world can say, oh, yeah, I know everything about it. I know a lot about an RV. And I'm looking for a job.
Correct. So I reach out, but I'm like, I still live in Huntley. This is an Elkhorn. I don't really know. This is where things get really interesting and actually really exciting because it's probably going to be throwing you through the curveball. I get the phone call immediately, and it's a big thank you, and hopefully he's listening, but a really good friend that's become like a brother to me. His name was Chris Cumley. Reached out and said,
shout out to Chris.
How would you like to sell? I'm going to be silent here for a second because, Kyle, you know me a long time.
I have. And when I told you when we were having this conversation before we got on here, I said, if you told me at 18 years old that Danny was going to be a salesman, and not just a salesman, but an RV salesman at that age, I'd have been, oh, hell no.
It wasn't even anything I ever even thought of in my wildest dreams. So I really thought about it. I said something to Katie. I'm like, what do you think? Katie's a numbers girl. She's got to see stuff written down in order for her to say.
Process and think about it all. And
so I start doing it part-time. I'm still, at that Lake Marine, just doing whatever. And it just, I'm not liking it. And I start doing it part-time. Well, I go and I sell my first camper.
Hooked.
I was in love, literally. You said it best. It's like me and you both hunt. We both fish. You remember the first day you got your first deer, your first big northern, my heart started pounding.
Hooked.
This is fun. Not only can I bullshit, but I can bullshit in a good way, make somebody happy, and I just felt rewarded.
And, make a little money while you're at it, too.
But at that time, I didn't know.
No.
I had no idea what I was getting into. So I sold my first one, which happened to be a Class C. It was a 2018 Coachman Leprechaun.
So that's a brand new one. In 2018?
It was a rental. It was a brand new, but it was a rental, so that it had been used. I remember the first one. I know it like yesterday. So I was like, all right, this is good. So I started going up there on weekends, selling. Well, it turned into just being part-time sales. You know how sales is. Salary's not very good. You're based off commission. So
you got it.
He wasn't paying me salary just because I was part-time, but every time I went there, I sold one. My next time, I sold three. Something's going on here.
Hey, I might be pretty good at this.
So months progress, and this was, Katie got the car in January. I started the very end of January, 1st of February is when I started doing part-time. So I start doing it. They kept asking me to go full-time. And I couldn't give a straight answer because of the fact that Katie wanted to see numbers, and rightfully so. 100%. I am not tossing her under the bus.
No.
This is all me.
Well, when you're in sales, like you said, it's not a very good base salary. It's off of what you sell. So obviously, the more you sell, or the more profit that you make, the better your paycheck is.
Correct.
So it's going to vary from day to day, week to week, month to month.
Yes.
So it's hard to sit down and go, oh, these are concrete numbers. Well, are they? I mean, they're concrete for that week or that month.
And that's how it is. So I just started doing it. Well, then it got to the point of they couldn't pay me cash anymore. It had to be checks. Understandable. I
totally get it.
Totally fine with that. We're fast forward to months. Then they asked for me to go full-time. And I'm like, I really don't know. And this is about end of May, 1st of June. What my current boss at Lake Marine at that point in time came into me because my birthday is June 16th. And it was it was literally on my birthday the day after. He tells me, just so you know, in a couple weeks, I'm going to be shutting the RV part down here. If you want to stay, you can stay work on boats, or we're going to have to go our separate ways. Not mad about it because I told you this place I was pretty much going on it was going nowhere.
Well, that's a sign right there too, right?
And that was a sign. So at that point in time, I came home, and that's when I had to talk with Katie. So it was either now or never. Well, now she's freaking out because now we're doing it, and she has nothing in writing, and I'm freaking out because now
you don't know.
No. I'm going into a salary which is nothing. Me and you couldn't even do ramen noodles or anything.
I get it.
So we camp. Now we're almost to 4th of July, so I decided to start right after 4th of July. So we wanted to spend the weekend 4th of July camping just to, have one last hurrah.
And whatever happens after that,
July 5th is when I started. And I was nervous. It's July 5th of 2019, and I went full-time. I got in there, shocking with me because I'm not really too shy, but I was nervous. I was scared.
Well, it's something that you've never really done before.
I'm not good on computers. I'm good at making friends, but remember I told you I'm still working on myself, getting myself back up. Still, at this point in time, I'm kind of getting there, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, and being a mechanic, you know, hey, I show up, I'm getting paid X amount of dollars to fix this, or that, and you're moving on with life. Now it's like, okay, I'm learning how to be a salesman. I'm learning how to sell, and this is not bang, bang, bang of what I'm going to make. It's going to be how I do.
I control my checks
on how much money you make.
I can't go crawling to the boss and say, hey, I need a pay raise or I'm out. His pay raise is going to say, sell more campers.
Exactly.
Rightfully so.
Be better.
So I've got my feet wet with the units I had sold. I probably sold part-time, I'd say about 10 or 12 going up to this. Nothing
good dozen.
Nothing too extraordinary. I was shocked on what I'd made on those, so that's where I was kind of intrigued and really like, wow. Well, I was already passionate about them. I've already camped, owned one, and I just
wrenched on them,
and I just really liked them. So I decided that if I'm going to do this, I need to find me. And I just went, and I'll tell you, Kyle, it was that first week that I started that I looked in the mirror and said, I found myself.
It's time to go kick ass and take names.
And it was that day that I started working, and I had a great July. I had a great August, September, and October. And the reason I'm kind of being cautious on it, because my Chris that I gave a shout out to is going to laugh at this. It was like, that year. So I did good. I had already made more in that short period of time than I ever did at wrenching.
Good for you.
So I was
I
was kind of excited going over. I'm like, all right, well, this is good. Well, I was the low man on the totem pole, and he had came to me and said, well, you've got wrenching experience. We're slower, not much going on. Why don't you go back in the shop, and just work on them for the wintertime? No, if I'm going to sell, I'm going to stay selling. I'm going to stick with it.
I'm jumping in both feet.
So November of 2019, I sold 0. I sold 9. I had 7 backouts and 2 that couldn't get financed. Nothing.
It happens. It happens.
In that November, Chris came to me and said, you really wish you went back to wrenching, didn't you? And that pissed me off, Kyle.
I can imagine.
I've already got the pressure from my wife because we're digging into savings. We're digging into stuff. I was getting myself back up there to where I was paying stuff off, being better.
And they just took your legs out from under you.
I looked in the mirror, and starting December 1st of 2019, I said, I'm going to kick some ass.
Attaboy.
And that December, I sold 10.
Wow.
And for December to sell 10 in a smaller dealer, because at this time, Elkhorn was small.
Yeah, so that was just a couple dealers at that point, right?
Correct. They had 3 RV dealers. So, I mean, they were incredibly small, and we were going over. So I did that. January came about. Obviously, COVID hit.
Yeah, March of 2020,
Correct.
Right?
So when COVID hit, everybody's freaking out. The world's done. Everything's here.
Dude, it wasn't just you.
It was everywhere.
I was at the dealership at the time, and I was selling at that point too. And we were to the point okay, are we, what's the word that they used? So you can stay in business. What was the word that they used?
Getting help and
not expendable. It's the other one.
I know where you're talking
anyway,
about. Yeah, me and you both are getting.
So we were sitting there like, can we be open?
Right.
At that point. And that world shut down for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Nothing happened. People
Correct.
I got to eat, and that's it.
Right.
There was nobody, because we didn't know. We had no clue. So anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. And that's how it is. So here, I live in Illinois, which we all know how Illinois is.
Woo.
Yep. Work in Wisconsin. Whole different when I hopped and went back to work in Wisconsin. So Illinois, everybody, and I didn't wear the mask like everybody did. I didn't get the boosters. I didn't get I held on for as long as I possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you on that. So I never did shut down. We stayed working. And boy, did we work. And I just told you about...
It's crazy, wasn't it?
It was really crazy. So I told you how we started going over, I sold the campers, did whatever, and we just started selling and selling and really selling. So 20 was a weird year that for everybody.
Absolutely.
I had great sales, but things, the economy was kind of shut down. But I was really selling campers. I mean, people were coming in. They're doing so. I'm really getting the vibe of dude, I'm liking this. I'm getting on Facebook. I'm publicizing myself. I'm talking to people. I'm a seasonal at the Yogi Bear. I just start going over there. So everybody laughs. I'm sitting there drinking, which I'm not even having a beer now. I wish I was, but if I was.
You got a Royal Cola. Just as good.
We'd be sitting around the campfire, and I just start bullshitting. They're like, really? So you got one of those campers? I sure do. I would be drinking beer and writing up a deal. And I would go in on Monday and have about 4 or 5 deals done.
Good for you. It was the right storm for you, right? Because everybody couldn't go to work or couldn't travel, so we'll go to the campground. We got freedom there. We can do what we want there. There's no rules. There's no regulations because we're outside.
And that's what it is.
And now all of a sudden you're there with your family, enjoying your camper, and you're going around going, hey, I got 172 campers or whatever number it is to sell. Do you want to upgrade? Because now is the time to upgrade.
And that's what I say. So we're going to really fast forward and get into 21 because 20 was just kind of a weird year that I'll just say that.
Did you sell a ton in 2020 though?
Yes and no, because we weren't shut down. We stayed open, but the economy was all so weird. Like they shut down. We had no shows. One of the biggest things for RVs is you have your January.
Yeah, you got to have your shows.
You have all your shows, Rosemont, Green Bay, everything like that. There was nothing.
See, like for me, when I was working at Deere, 2020 was my best year.
Was it?
By far.
So 2020, I sold, it was about 120 campers.
That's a pretty good number.
Not bad.
No, so what I was getting at is like March hit, nobody knew what the hell was going on. April hit, everybody was starting to get an idea. By May, everybody's yards need to be mowed. Guess what? People, they had money at that point in time, the COVID money. So they come in, buy lawnmowers. I mean, we sold so much. And then the shitty part is come, November, we were all sold out. And we couldn't get product at that. We were 6 months. The way I looked at it is we had enough product for 6 months. And then when the perfect storm hit, everybody was at home. Everybody could see, oh, there's $300 off on this or $500 off on that or $1,500, whatever the case may be. Like, time to upgrade. Boom. Yep. They upgrade. Boom. So we probably really had close to 9 or 10 months on hand, but with everybody buying it, shortened that baby down to 6. Then November came and they're like, oh, yeah, I can order you more, but you're not going to see it for 3 months.
And that's how it was. I mean, and God bless that we had stayed pretty high on ordering. So that's when it was getting into the problems, is that's why I'm kind of like, we're going to pretend that 2020 never happened. It obviously it happened, but it didn't, so we sold, we had inventory, but we didn't because things were shut down. You couldn't get this, you couldn't get that.
Yeah.
So now we're in the 21. Now people are really getting
crunch time.
They're getting agitated because they've been in lockdown for how long? What can I do? I'm going to go camping. That January, I believe it was, I sold 15. February, I sold 22. March, I sold, it was right around 22, 23.
Jesus.
April, I sold 28. May, I sold right around 28. In June of 2021, I broke an all-time record with all Kunes. And at this time, Kunes had 13 stores, 13 RV stores. So out of all Kunes RV, I sold 37 campers the month of June of 2021.
Holy balls, Batman.
I had also broke another record. I was the top Alliance RV salesman in all the Midwest.
You posted that, right?
I did.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
now that you say that, I remember that.
I take very big pride in that.
You should.
That's Alliance RV is a top luxury line fifth wheel. So they're the top tier ones. That's going over. They're a newer company.
So when we get done with your story, we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the difference in RVs because I don't know jack shit.
Oh, I can told you a lot about them. And I fell in love with them, and they came. And when I say that I was a top RV salesman, and I wasn't just so I was the top and was with Kunes, in which to this day nobody's broken my record, by the way. I got a phone call from Ryan Schuff at Alliance to tell me what I had just did. Well, it was in the whole Midwest, and it was,
good for you.
And then
that's awesome.
I learned that it was in all 50 states. So that was in 2021. So
you sold the most RVs in a month over any other salesman in an RV.
And I was the top Alliance RV salesman in the entire country, well, United States, I should say, for 2021. So I take very big pride in that.
Hell yeah, I would too.
I loved every minute of it. And that's where it's going to kind of get into another story when I was saying is how much I loved about it all in this time that my wife was working at the flower shop, which she has worked at the Huntley Flower Shop since she was in high school. So she had been trying to acquire this place, and rightfully so. And I'll tell you, you think I'm good at selling campers, she puts me to shame at the stuff that she does on her flowers. It's amazing. So camper sales were great. Were really great.
Life's good.
Doing all right. I've got bills paid off. I'm paying stuff off. We're getting everything like that. She started working on it, and I looked at her and I said, do you want this? And she had been trying and trying and trying. So May coming up in 22 is when she got it. May of 22, she successfully purchased the Huntley Floral Shop. So
that's awesome.
Katie is the sole owner of that one, which
Wonderful.
I'm proud of her for doing all
Hell
that.
yeah.
So,
did she keep it at the Huntley Flower Shop then?
Nothing changed. Deb, the old owner, still works there. Everything's the same. She lights off. She does awesome on that. So I kind of teamed up with her because she bought some little camper plots, like you can put flowers and stuff like in. So people would buy an RV, I'd hand it over. Well, 90% of the time, the wives would get that and be like, oh my God, I'm getting something really pretty with
this is so cool.
Oh, where'd you get that? My wife, Huntley Floral Shop.
So the funny thing is just a quick side note. When I was selling, if a husband and a wife came in, I always tried to sell the wife.
100%.
Because if she's on board, he's on board.
8 out of 10 times you being in sales, you do all the talking to the wife because I'll tell you if the colors don't work, it ain't happening.
Nope.
It is not happening.
And it was the same way. Like, you made sure that she's happy and that's what she wanted, and it was a done deal.
When people would come in to look at campers and say the dad would come in or the husband would come in and they're just there to look, and they're like, well, I still got to show the wife. Right then and there, you and me both know he is not buying today.
I would usually say right then and there, like, I'd be the same thing. Well, I got to run up on my wife. I'm like, you're not buying anything until she's here.
Yeah.
You might as well go get her.
Yeah,
Come on back, see me.
Well, just bring a check.
A lot of husbands are like, well, you don't think I don't wear the pants? It's got nothing to do with wearing the pants.
It's just we both know that this is not happening. But that's the nice thing about RVs is it attracts all types of people. And to get back on mine and yours friendship is that I have a lot of friends that I could say names rattle off all the time right now that call me on a consistent basis because they rent them for the fair.
Yes.
That's one thing that we do is we are 100% rent campers for the fairs.
Yeah, because you guys rent, lease, finance.
We do everything.
Yeah.
One-stop shop. So
exactly.
Anybody needs campers for the fair, they're always calling me, texting me, hey, do you got one for the fair? I do. I actually my phone's been blowing up.
Or that Country Thunder thing that we don't want to talk about.
This is true. I'm a little cautious on renting them out to the Country Thunder, but the people have gotten a lot better than.
Hey, if their insurance is good, let her fly, right?
You know what? Then, hey, by all means, go ahead. I've got a few Cousin Eddie ones that I'll let them use for Country Thunder for that one. So, camper sales, like I said, we've become good. I really just took pride in it. I've always had a lot of good, great people that I've worked that stood beside me that really made me want to push myself. And I never had it easy. I mean, I've been the top salesman there for many years now, but I've had a lot of months where I'm neck to neck with people. And it was never just
competition is good.
And if I don't have competition, I'm not there. I need somebody to be there to
push you,
hammer me out,
get it going.
Because without that, I got Randy Verhagen, who's one of my best friends that works at Green Bay. He's still there. Me and him every month, neck to neck to neck. Jacob, a really good friend of mine, moved to Texas. He's still selling RVs, working for one of our competitions. I still talk to him to this day. Me and him neck to neck. A lot of good friends. My good buddy Austin, that actually lives out here in Harvard. I call him my brother Buck. Still works for Kunes and Elkhorn right now. We just really hammer each other to really get the drive going. The other thing that I want to point out is I have never worked for a company that has cared so much about their employees. When you worked at General and you look at everything, you're a number. They don't care. When I worked for Kunes, Greg knows who you are and who your whole family is, which is going to lead me into the next statement because as a lot of my family and friends, well, all my family and friends know, not everybody possibly listening, is that when we're talking about all the success and everything, I was put through a big setback this last year in December. He's doing fantastic, but my son was born, and he was born 6 weeks early. He spent a lot of time in the NICU unit in Rockford.
And he did.
My wife had to be rushed into immediate surgery, she lost 5 bags of blood that she had to have put into her. So I was stuck in one time do I go right or do I go left to see my wife or see my kid?
Yeah, that's a tough situation where you don't wish that on your worst enemy.
You don't.
You really don't.
And that was at this point, me and you have already talked, and I've kind of hit some of the basics that I've already. And I'll just be blunt and said I got my head out of my ass. I'm comfortable with who I am, with what I've done with myself now. I've made amends. I've said my sorries. I've paid my dues. I'm really.
And you're working hard to get to where you want to be.
And I'm proud of who I am now.
Absolutely.
And this happened, and he really, really taught me the meaning of what
This podcast episode is sponsored by Dan's Diesel Performance. If you're looking to improve your truck's performance, efficiency, or appearance, check out Dan's Diesel Performance. They manufacture turbochargers, fuel injectors, fuel pumps, transmissions, intake piping, and much, much more. Plus, they offer all the top brands in the diesel industry. They're located in Machesney Park, Illinois. Visit their website at dansdieselperformance.com or give them a call at 815-977-5865.
Love is and what is important in life.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
He's doing fantastic. He's 4.5 months old now. Wouldn't trade him for the world. I mean, for anybody that goes through saying, wow, Nick, I thank the Nick unit every single day that I wake up and just say thank you for the nurses and doctors that were there for my kid and my wife, my family. Without them, he wouldn't be here to this day.
You're probably right.
And that's why I thank God for that everything's happened. Well, that's why I'm talking about that. With what I have done and built myself up, I was also offered an opportunity to leave Elkhorn. It was really hard because Elkhorn's my family.
Well, you've been there for, probably 5 years at that point or 4 years at that point.
And everybody that works there's my family. I love them all. I have no bad words to say about anybody there. But I got an opportunity to be the sales manager for Kunes RV in Sterling. I took it.
Well, you have to better yourself, too.
You do. And again, we're going to go back to when I said my wife is a numbers girl. So she's got to see stuff on numbers and freaking out on that.
Did you tell her, like, hey, honey, we just made it through 4.5 years without having any numbers whatsoever. I think this is going to be all right.
So we did it. And the biggest reason that I did it is the lady that runs the store over there, Christina, is absolutely amazing. She has the heart, but it's a smaller store that needed just a little bit of help. And I saw it as not necessarily a challenge because they were there. I mean, the talent's there. They just needed a little piece missing.
Yeah. When you look at it, something like that, it's a different mindset, right? Because those people that are there, right, wrong, or otherwise, they're looking at it this specific way.
Correct.
When you came in, you had experience from 2 other RV dealers.
Yep.
You started up at an Elkhorn,
yep,
which had rough guesstimate for me. When you started in Elkhorn, how much inventory did you have up there?
About 80 campers.
Okay. And when you left, how many did you have?
500 to 600.
Okay. So that's what I was getting at.
We've grown.
So now when you go down to Sterling, it's not that you're there to push anybody out. You're there to help them and go, hey, we went from 80 campers to 600 campers in a year. Or, not in a year. Over a 3-year stretch, but that you could possibly sell in a year.
Correct.
I'm bringing some knowledge down here.
And they all had heard of me. I mean, there wasn't anybody there that didn't know who I was. So
correct.
They were excited that I came. And you said it best. I did not come to take anybody's job. I came to help, and the icing of the cake was where I'm working now is approximately 20 minutes from where my campground is, which my campground I owe a big thank you to because that's what built me to where I am to really get myself out and publicize and to let it be known. And
well, yeah, because you probably sold a boatload of campers in that
couple hundred
in Yogi Bear, right?
A couple hundred. And that's what it got to the point to where I was averaging 230 campers a year selling. And that's just what it came down to. And
Dude, that's a lot of freaking campers.
A lot of campers. So I really was excited about that. I was excited to take the new challenge and to come over there. And so with Kunes having 14 dealers, Sterling was kind of towards the down. They've only been open for a year. So
they're actually really fresh then.
Very fresh.
Gotcha.
And kudos to everybody that's been there. They have done an amazing job. They've pumped some stuff out. With me and everybody there at working as a team, they are no longer sitting at the bottom.
Good.
They have built their way back up, and we're selling some units.
All right. So I'm 13th in line. No,
right there, maybe 12th and a half.
We're
We're building ourselves back up, but then that created another new challenge for me because I was used to always just selling, and that was it. Now I'm in management.
Yeah, so now you probably got to take care of the guys underneath you and the girls underneath you.
Correct. Which that I was never used to. I was always used to just doing that. So I've brought what I know to them to boost them back up. And that's why what I like about working there is Christina, amazing on the computer side. This guy on computers,
it's a work in progress.
Progress going slow and steady. So she does that part. I can tell you how to sell campers.
And that's what matters, right?
So I get together with them, the relationships I have with the reps, doing all that stuff. I'm talking about quality of campers. The reason I went to the Alliance and made them one of my. So Alliance and Keystone, like Avalanche Alpines, are some of the biggest ones that are out there for.
So that's the name brand
Correct.
Of the campers.
They're livable warranty ones. You can live in them 365. They've got lifetime warranties on the roofs. They've got heated massage chairs, full instant hot water heaters, 3 air conditioners. I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to – it's the things that people want to have. So, for instance, for when COVID hit, everybody's like, you know what? Or when people retire, do you know how many times people call me a month and said, I just retired, we sold our house, and we're going to go live in Florida 6 months, here 6 months. You're going to want to get a top-tier fifth wheel, not just – I can get you an entry-level fifth wheel for $40,000, $50,000 all day long. You'll end up getting rid of it in 2 years. But these are the ones that are going to last you years and years.
Especially if you're retiring. You're already at 60 years old. I'm going to buy one camper, and I'm going to be done with it.
And that's what it is. You know, and the way I do with people is I don't want to do them dirty, do anything. Like, I don't want you to buy one camper from me. I want you to buy 10 campers from me. I sold a camper to your cousin. They're loving every minute. I still talk. I can tell you how many friends of mine that I've sold campers to that I'll keep in tabs with, or with me working on them. You guys take it out for the first week, and then, oh, how do I turn the hot water on? They text me. 9 out of 10 times, I can walk you through over the phone what's wrong with it. There is that 1 out of 10 times that you'll have to bring it in.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I compare camping to the fair. And the reason when you're like, well, what do you mean by that is...
Yeah, I kind of give you that look like, okay, show me.
The friends that I make camping is just like what I made with you guys at the fair.
Gotcha. I'm picking up what you're laying down now.
You can, so like my campground is realistically only open from April 1st through Halloween, and then it closes down. So you go months without talking, like we went months without talking when the fair had over. Then all of a sudden you reconnect again. It's just like you saw each other yesterday. That's what it is. And they're my second family. You go to get away and do stuff, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, you know, I know a lot of people that have campgrounds or trailers or whatever up at different campsites, and they just seem to love it. They get away for a weekend, and it doesn't really cost them anything because it's there. It sounds appealing.
It really is. It's your 1 week. You know, a lot of our friends and stuff with farming and stuff like that. I got a lot of friends up there that are full-time farmers. I mean, you're working 24/7, 7 days a week. And I tip my hat to you guys on that one, all you gals, and that do everything on that. Thank you. So obviously, like when it comes to right now, obviously Mother Nature's kind of being a you-know-what right now.
Yeah, I'm ready for some sunshine and some nicer weather.
Clearly, when you guys can get in the fields, you're going to be busy. But then when you finally do get the field work done, it's the time you can go out to there. You can hit the pool. You can hit the water slides. You can hit the trails. You can do a little fishing, kayaks.
The beverages.
Drink a lot of beverages. Katie always says, just because I buy a case of beer doesn't mean I need it. Well, I didn't buy it just to look at it. So you got to get rid of it. So
it's got to get empty somehow.
So, and still loving my Coors Light. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Good.
Not really doing anything with the whole Budweiser stuff. So
come on.
No, just got to throw that one out there. So
it's funny because I think I've had quite a few. I don't know, whatever, 4 or 5 podcasts. I'm like, do you want to talk about that? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know. And I think only one person's brought it up, but we've made references in each podcast that's happened.
You want a beer? You're welcome at my campground anytime. You will have Coors Light. Is what I'm saying in my outdoor kitchen.
That's a way to put it.
Any Bloody Marys, vodka cranberries, vodka lemonades, Captain Coke's, got all that stuff. But beer, you'll have Coors Light. Just leave it at that.
Okay, so your story is, I really hope it helps somebody.
I really do too. And I mean, the biggest moral that I said, like when I came into you before we even got on air, is that I take pride in letting the world know that I have made mistakes. I have messed up. I have been a bad person. I woke up and really just said, wake up. It's time to move on.
Yeah, well, I hope that, first of all, thank you for telling your story, because it's a cool story, and you may look at it as it's not a cool story, but when you're from the outside looking in, to see somebody kind of fall hard on their luck and then build themselves to where you are now,
and that's the thing,
it can be done.
Yeah, and that's what I want to tell everybody is when somebody's like, I hit rock bottom, you don't know how it is. Yes, I do. And I don't want anybody to ever think they're alone or to think they can't get through it, because you can.
Yeah.
And I'm proof that I can.
Agreed. Agreed with that.
And there's no doubt about it. I mean, I've done it. I spent a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in McHenry County. Not proud of that, but you know what I did? This is years ago. I'm just letting you know that you can do what you got to do to get yourself back up. You got to do it for you.
Yeah, you can be in a bad situation, but at the end of the day, you got to look yourself in the mirror and
you
decide,
do it.
Hey, do I really want to do this or not?
So,
and that's the path you're going to choose.
Absolutely, and that's why I said I owe a lot to my family and friends, especially Katie. And then ever since I've had my little one here, which hasn't been long, he has really made me look at things differently.
That's good. That's what kids are supposed to, I think, right?
They are. Now I just need him to get bigger so he can take care of Dad instead of me changing the diapers. But that's where I got Ryder and Eloise. Those are my bonus kids. I can't thank and tell you how much I love them. Ryder's literally my mini-me. He deer hunts with me. He fishes with me. He's my right sidekick. Eloise, I don't know how she's not mine. She's almost another spitting image of me. So I have 3 kids.
Absolutely.
So I'll just say it that way.
Yeah.
Ryder, Eloise, and Hunter are just amazing. So
your wife's flower shop.
Yep.
So how's that been doing since she bought it almost a year ago now, right?
She's been doing awesome. Obviously, it's funny because like when I'm busy, which is summertime, she's slow. Except for right now, she's pulling her hair out. She just got done with prom. So she hustled on that one. So kudos to you, Katie, on busting your tail. She got everything out, and Mother's Day coming up.
I'll say Mother's Day is coming up, too.
So I have to be the delivery driver on Mother's Day, which I'm totally good with.
They get to see your ugly mug.
Yeah, you get to see my ugly mug. So if you're putting out those flower orders, I might be the one that delivers. So
just remember, you like Snickers or whatever at the front door, right?
Yes, I do. So she's doing fantastic with it. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and you get any of the big holiday stuff, she really does busy. I'm just really proud of her, how she's built it up, and she's changed enough to where it's hers, but she still kept it's the flower shop.
The core value.
It's the Huntley Flower Shop. It's nothing of like where John Deere buys case or whatever, and they completely change everything. No, nothing to do with that.
So I got a question. I don't know if you can answer this, just
Sure.
because you said it's kind of her baby and you're there to help out.
Mm-hmm.
Does she like order her flowers to come in, or does she work with local growers that bring them in?
She does both. Mostly she has a wholesaler, but then she also helps out wherever she can get them from. So she always orders them fresh. Actually, it's funny because it's every Sunday. She puts the order in. It's typically when we sit down for dinner. She gets that phone call. So what she puts down, she goes through and then orders everything on that stuff. So that I do know. Where?
Yeah, I just was
I know
curious.
she's got the walk-in coolers and she's got everything that goes. She's got a really cute little shop. So, I mean, anybody ever gets a chance, time to go out there, it's right off 47.
I got a friend of mine that's got a flower farm, so maybe I'll have to talk to them.
You should talk to them, have them reach out to Katie.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to do that.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
No.
Because
they're pretty local. I think they're down there in Woodstock. So,
and I'd rather help out small businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I know they do a lot of like pick your own and stuff like that, but I don't see why that would be much different than be like, oh, hey, we want to put an order for 38 roses or whatever, however that works. I'm not a flower person. So.
Love to say I am too. I mean, I could tell you any camper you want, fifth wheel travel trailer, motorized, but flowers.
Well, that's what we're going to get into next here. So obviously there are huge range of campers from friggin' pop-ups to, I don't know, what's the biggest square footage one they make that you could probably get? Yeah, now I'm putting you on the spot.
I absolutely are. So you can get yourself a small little pop-up, about 12-foot pop-up, 10-foot pop-up. You can pretty much, every one of them come with air conditioners now. So you could get in a brand new 2023 pop-up for $10,000.
Oh, it's not so bad.
And then you could get into a brand new 2023 Class A Super Diesel at $450,000, $500,000. So when you're talking about wideness, I'm going to fall back to Alliance because that's my favorite one. 101-inch wide bodies without the slides. So you got 101-inch is what the bodies are, and I mean coming over living on that. Fully heated enclosed underbellies, fully heated tanks, heated everything.
Holy crap.
When you walk into these things, I mean, it's walking into a house. The number one thing when people walk in, the appliances are nicer than my house, is what they say. I mean,
I can believe that.
20 cubic foot refrigerators sitting inside these things, true 4-burner stoves, turkey ovens. I mean, it's a house. 3 air conditioners, big furnace, fireplace.
Jesus.
I mean, it's
nicer than the digs that I'm living in now.
nicer than some of the places I've stayed at. I can tell you that much a lot of times.
$450,000 then for like a top level
That's
entry.
on the light side.
Really?
Decent, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty top tier one. Us at Kunes, I mean, we definitely have. We just signed a contract with Holiday Rambler, which is one of the top tiers. So we don't have quite as much as. Well, I'm probably going to get in trouble, but that's okay. We don't have as many Class A's as some of the competitors do because we didn't know how far in depth Kunes was going to get. So they're more travel trailer, fifth wheels.
Well, and now that you're getting into depth, though,
now they're really like
your orders are going to start ramping
we're
up.
Here.
I'm sure,
and people are not. We're not a small company. We're a lot of them start laughing. Your Generals, Camping World, stuff like that. Oh yeah, they're nothing. Yeah, well, we are something.
You are something. So is there a very popular sized camper that you
absolutely 34 foot, 32 to 34 foot
bumper?
Yep,
bumper pull trailer.
Yep, bunkhouse. You get them all the time. People come in because typically your favorite tow vehicle is an F-150 or a 1500 or a big Suburban. That's overall your number one. Hey, I'm a family of 4. I've got this big Suburban. I can tow about 8,000 pounds. There you are.
So the 32 or 34 footer, it's an 8,000 or 7,800 pound probably tow on the bumper.
And they've made them
hitch
so light, Kyle, now that you can look at them. I mean, you can get a 35-foot ultra light that's weighing in at 5,000 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's very impressive. I mean, they're all composite, Asdale, inside, outside, walkable roofs. Clearly, I'm not what you call a small guy. Still got the dad bod, which I'm proud of. But
hell yeah,
my 250, 60 pounds can walk directly on the roofs and not have to worry about going through them.
Really? God, the campers have come a long way since the ones that I remembered.
Come a long, long way. I was just going to say, from back in the day, you'd be sitting there going, yeah, I'm not stepping there.
No.
So they really have come. My best advice that I would give to everybody, and this is me not being a typical sales, this is me being a friend speaking truthful, is don't settle on one. Buy it because you want to buy it. And if you think it's too small, it's too small. The number one thing that people do with me is they'll buy one and 2 months later, yeah, it's too small. And I can't tell you, Kyle, how many times I'm sitting out making small talk bullshit and talking about where you're going to hang this, where you're going to have the beer at, which campground you're going to. Okay, so I'm a full-size adult. You're a full-size adult, the wife, whoever. So we got 3 full-size adults. When you go camping, it's going to rain some weekend.
Oh, absolutely. It's
okay.
going to.
Perfect world, we're going to go camping, and it's going to be sunshine. You're going to be grilling outside. Yeah, that's a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. And when you pick your weekends, clearly Mother Nature could give you a big you-know-what.
Yeah, she don't care.
No. And she's going to piss on your parade right now and say, yeah, you're
She don't care what you think or what you want.
Do you want to be stuck in a 20-foot camper with 6 people all weekend long?
That's true.
No.
That's true.
No. So if you or anybody you know that is looking to buy a camper, and you know that I've sold to a lot of your friends, I am not pushy. I'm going to probably veer you away from trying to buy one if it's not the right time. And I'm also going to tell you to really do your homework. Because when you do is you want to buy it for you. And my other thing is when people come, grandma and grandpa's always come, well, I think I'm going to buy a bunkhouse. Why? Because the grandkids might come with. How often do the grandkids come with? Well, maybe once a year. So you really want to waste all that room for the grandkids when you can buy a beautiful couple's coach that has a couch that pulls out into a true queen for that one time a year.
Yeah, they can survive one time.
Yeah.
Hell, even twice they can survive.
What? Here's a tent. Pop it up there and let them have a...
Because, yeah, I would imagine the average camping time is similar as mowing. It's probably 28 weeks a year or something like that, right?
Correct. Because you figure like ours opened up April. We just went out for the first time to our campground 2 weeks ago, and I'll tell you right now, it was cold as hell. Typically when I'm out camping...
The weekend before that would have been great.
Right, but I didn't go that weekend.
Yeah, no.
Typically, Katie's yelling at me at about 1 o'clock in the morning, too, saying, not really yelling, but I get the text. Maybe it's time for you to come in. Me and the neighbors get together and have...
a cocktail or two.
I was in bed by 10:30, 11 that week because it was cold.
It was cold.
I enjoy having the fires. Fall and spring camping are my favorite. You can have the sweatshirt, a light jacket, enjoy the fire. But Dude, it was like 20 degrees.
It was chilly.
I'm sensitive now in my older age. I was done. I was ready to go in and call her quits. And I don't really drink too much whiskey. I'm a beer guy, but I could have drank whiskey to warm myself
Warmed up a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm
Whiskey is good for that.
Excited to see the weather's getting better.
Yeah.
So I think with the weather getting better, it's going to get, and it really just gets people entertained. Like my brother reached out to me the other day. He's going to come out with us for 4th of July.
Cool.
I see a lot of families and friends connect with camping that, like, hey, let's do this. It's one of those hobbies that, like how you talk, I wish we could, it really brings people together.
And you get to meet all sorts
all
of walks.
I met people from all over.
Of life. Right.
Which is cool. Right. And I've sold campers almost all over. I've had campers get shipped to Canada. I've had campers get shipped to Mexico. I've had campers get shipped to Alaska a lot. I've had 2 campers get shipped to Hawaii. How well that worked, I've talked to them a little bit here and there. They've gone over. I do a lot in California. A lot.
Really?
Yes.
Now, is that because the emissions BS?
That
is why they're
so much cheaper.
Yeah, because the taxes and everything else
and
over there.
The drivables, so like we sell Sunseekers as a Class C. Let's just say
what's a Sunseeker? Because I'm an idiot.
Forest River Sunseeker. It's got a 4 chassis, so it's a 450 chassis.
Okay.
And then it's a Forest River Sunseeker, so it's a drivable Class C. I can sell them for anywhere from $100,000 to $120,000. Over in California, they're about $190,000.
Oh, that's a hell of a difference.
So they'll
fly out here, drive that baby home.
Yes.
That makes perfect sense.
That's why we do so well. And like my biggest competition for my 5th wheels is in Texas, because Texas, the weather's so nice, it's gorgeous.
And everybody's got 5th wheels down there, I'm sure.
And I just got to throw this out there because we both do it. How about them Cowboys? Texas. I'm a Cowboys. You're Cowboys.
I am.
Texas is my biggest competition for RVs. You get like the Ron Hoovers that buy, say, like Alliance is my favorite. We order 200 of them. They'll order 2,000.
So I'm going to ask a question.
Sure.
You can tell me to F off. Does your dealer get bigger discounts the more you order?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying, like, they're like,
so when they order 2,000, they can say, oh, well, Alliance is going to give us, I'm just going to use a number. They're going to give us an 8% discount, which means 100%. We can take that and give that 8% discount to the customers.
100%.
Where you are ordering 200, and they're going to say, well, we're only going to give you a 4% discount.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's where, like, if you call me and you're like, hey, man, I'm going to buy that $295 Alliance, and I've got it listed for $100,000. And then you'd be like, Danny, I see one in Texas right now for $85,000. Yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of room to work, but I'm not going to have as much as they do.
You're not going to drop $15,000.
No. But then here you go. So I can drop a little bit. They do have prep fees, which we don't have prep fees. But then that also eliminates you driving all the way to Texas, hooking up to it, driving all. That's my biggest selling point is you don't have to worry about that.
Correct.
But
money still talks. Absolutely. I get it.
And I get it too.
See, when we were at the dealership, it was the same way. When I was working at the Deere dealership, it's, if you ordered X amount of 0 turns, let's just say, you got a bigger discount from John Deere.
100%.
Well, now all of a sudden I'm going against dealers that have 20 stores and we had 4. Tell me who gets the better discount there.
Agreed.
It's supposed to be the same all the way around, but we all know that it's not going to happen.
And that's what's helped us out now is from when I first started Kunes with having just a few stores to having 14 now. So now
your inventory, it jumps up big time at that point too.
Yes,
now you can say, well, I don't have that specific one here in Sterling, but I got an
Elkhorn.
That's
what I've had to teach. So not only do I still know Elkhorn's inventory, I've been there forever. Now I have Sterling's. As I've come into Sterling, and I'm like, okay, yes, sell what we have on the lot, but remember we have 13 other stores. So boom, well I come in for this. Well, we don't carry it. That was the number one thing I heard. Well, we don't. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
We can probably have that shipped down here next week or something if you want to take a look at it.
I can have it within 48 hours.
Yeah. So come back in 48 hours and we'll have it right here for you. And you can take a look at it and tell me what you think. That's huge. That's so huge if you're a salesman and you're part. If you're somebody listening to this and you're thinking about going into sales, keep all of these things that Danny and I have said, because it's going to help you in the future. And if you're a consumer listening to a couple of old salesmen talk about some stuff here, also take that into advantage, because there are things out there that will help you, not coming from us, just from your own research and knowledge.
Right. And if you really, really, really want to buy a camper, and everybody always says the best time to buy is at shows, the best time to buy is November, December.
I was going to say at the end of the year.
100%. 200%, because they are so eager to say, let's go. When you start getting into show season, yes, there is discounts. I'm not going to deny that. But in November, December, sales are down. They really want to get rid of the whatever year it is. So we'll just fast forward right now, say this is December of 23, and I've got a 23 unit sitting there. I'm going to literally let it go for what I own it for to get it off my lot to at least get the count.
Yeah, and then, next year's model numbers too.
Yeah.
And it's not a 2023 anymore.
So you take,
it's a 2024.
Correct. But you just save probably $12,000. Well, I'm cheap, so.
Yeah, well, any big savings like that's worth
100%
it.
on that one. So.
Oh, damn, I had something on the tip of my tongue I was going to ask you and blew right by me.
That's all right. It happens.
I usually got pretty good questions to ask, and the heck. Oh, just clicked. So are you still selling at all, or are you just now the sales manager?
I'm just a sales manager, but I still sell.
So you still got your good customers.
Oh, yes. I have all my friends. Just Saturday, I had friends that were in that I worked with. I mean, I will put you with somebody. Good buddy of ours, Chris McKee, just reached out to me because he wants camper for the fair again.
Good.
Same thing. Nikki Luth reached out. She's like, I heard Kunes isn't doing rentals anymore. They are not doing rentals in Elkhorn. We are doing full rentals out of our Sterling location. So anybody listening, wanting, we have them.
Do you deliver?
We can.
Okay.
There will be a fee, obviously for that,
yeah,
especially with gas and stuff. But
didn't care about that.
If somebody did want one, we 100% can do it.
Yeah, because if somebody was like, hey, I'm having a 4th of July party and I got 10 relatives coming down for the weekend, and I only got a half-ton truck, and I'm gonna need a fifth wheel because that's something you can deliver out there.
100%.
Perfect.
Yep. So we got them. I mean, anybody needs anything, just let me know, and we're there.
Well, Danny, we got to wrap this thing up. We've been talking over an hour already.
Well, let's roll, man. I appreciate everything, buddy.
Thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks for having me.
It's a hell of a story.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we can get you some sales out of this.
All right, buddy.
Talk to you.
See you, man.